Hello everyone. This is your professor, Danny Araneta Cabulay, on the course Accountancy Research. We are now in week number 6 and this is video lecture number 27. For this particular episode, we will be talking about the different types of research techniques, starting off with survey. What is a survey? The researcher collects data from respondents through a series of questions using a survey form or what you call a survey questionnaire. So kung minsan, pag meron tayong mga nakitang nagsasurvey, yan ay isang example ng survey technique, pinapa-fill upan sa atin yung form. Sometimes yung form napakahaba, so nakaka-discourage mag-fill up. Okay? Pero pag maiksi lang yung form, we tend to oblige. So okay lang sa atin kasi it will take only a few minutes of our time. Kaya tandaan nyo, pag gumagawa kayo ng survey, huwag masyado mahaba. Dapat yung kaya nilang sagutan within 5 to 10 minutes. Kasi pag 30 minutes na-fill upan yung survey, ibabasukan nila yan. Hindi nila gustong fill upan yung form. And they get annoyed with the researcher. Okay? Surveys are classified as follows. So meron tayong mga surveys na tinatawag natin na personal survey or yung tawag natin na pen and paper survey, no? That means you have to fill up the form, you need a pen and paper. Then meron tayong tinatawag na online survey. Yung sasagutan natin siya using a computer or a gadget. Yung Survey Monkey is an example of an online survey application. Okay? So pwede kayong gumamit ng Survey Monkey. Okay? Then email survey, that means ini-email natin ang mga forms at marireceive din natin siya uli by email. Okay? Then we have mail-in survey. So ito naman ay pinapadala by mail. So sinusulatan natin yung mga respondent, tapos mayroon na siyang self-addressed envelope with stamps. So they will bring it to the post office and they will send it back to us. Okay? Ganun po yung mail-in survey. Then, the last type of survey is exit survey. Yung exit survey, kinoconduct siya kapag ang isang tao ay paalis na or siya ay mag-exit. Like sa isang company, pag mayroong mga empleyadong magre-resign o kaya magre-retire, sila ay pinapa-fill upan ng exit survey form ng HR department para malaman ng HR kung satisfied ba sa kanilang years of service sa company. Okay? So that's an example of an exit survey. Now, let's proceed to another type of data gathering technique, the interview. What is an interview? Ang interview, para din siyang survey. Yun nga lang, this is verbal. Unlike sa survey, it is written. So, in an interview, the researcher or consultant interacts with a target respondent. In most cases, an interview is either structured using a set of guide questions or it may be freewheeling, wherein there is no structure and the line of questions or questioning progresses based on the responses of the interviewee. Ito yung mga different types ng interview. Meron tayong tinatawag na personal interview. That means face-to-face. Okay? Then, meron din tayong tinatawag na phone interview. So, pwedeng ginagamitan ito ng cellphone or landline. Then, online interview. So, kailangan meron kang application or app like Viber or FaceTime or maybe Zoom or any other type of or Google Meet, no? Pwedeng gamitin yon. So those are examples of applications or platforms you can use for an online interview. Then we have what you call a panel interview. Ang ibig sabihin ng panel interview, there is one interviewee but there are several interviewers. Let's say, 4 yung nag-i-interview pero isa lang yung ini-interview. So medyo mahirap yon para sa interviewee kasi many questions will be thrown at you by the 4 people. Then we have what you call an interview series. So many people are interviewing, but one at a time. So let's say for this particular interviewer A, you will be interviewed for 15 minutes. And then another interviewer for another 15 minutes, and so on and so forth. So kung 4 na nag-i-interview sa'yo, 1 hour ang interview. 15 minutes each interviewer. Then, there is what we call the group interview. Pag group interview naman, isang tao lang yung nag-i-interview, pero ang interviewees ay madami. Let's say, I could interview 5 people simultaneously. I'll ask them the same questions. Okay? So, pwede yon. To save time, ginagamit po ang group interview. And then finally, we have what you call the expert interview. Pag sinabing expert interview, the interviewee, the person being interviewed, is a high-ranking person, or maybe a professional, a manager, or a specialist. So somebody who is very well-versed with a particular topic. He is an expert. So usually ang expert interview, ginagamitan niya ng mga open-ended questions. Mahahaba ang mga sagot ng mga respondent sa isang expert interview. Okay? Then there's what we call the observation. What is an observation? Well, this requires the use of relevant senses. Gagamitin natin ang mga senses natin. Ang ating mata, ang ating pandinig, panlasa, pangamoy, at pakiramdam. Kasi para din siyang, it's really a type of observation wherein you have to make use of all your senses para lang makakuha ka ng observation. So the researcher documents whatever his or her observations are. Kung ano yung nakita mo, ano yung narinig mo, ano yung naamoy mo, ano yung naramdaman mo, you have to jot them down. You can record them using a recording device or you can jot them down in a logbook or a notebook. Okay? There are various types of observation. Meron tayong tinatawag na physical observation. That means nandun ka mismo sa site. Sometimes it's called on-site observation. Then there's what you call off-site observation. Wala ka dun sa site, pero nakikita mo yung nangyayari using a live camera or maybe naka-live, no? Or maybe you're using a CCTV camera, a closed-circuit television camera. Then there's also what you call an electronic recording. So, yung napapanood mo sa video ay na-record siya yesterday pa, pero ngayon mo lang pinapanood. So, your observation is very much delayed kapag recording siya. Okay? Then there's what we call a time and motion study. That means inoorasan siya, tinatimingan, at inoobserbahan kung anong nangyayari within that span of time. Okay? So time and motion. Kaya tinatawag siyang time and motion because you're trying to analyze behavior of people within a certain span of time. How fast do they do things, or how slow do they do things, or how soon does an event happen. Okay? Yan ang time and motion study. Then, there's what you call a test. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng isang test? Pag sinabi nating test, this requires proof of existence of an item or presence of an observed competence. So, meron kang inoobserbahan na kagalingan o meron kang gustong makita. That's a test. Okay? Ano yung mga klase ng test? Trade test. We want to prove if the applicant is skilled or not. If the person is competent. For example, gusto mo marami nag-a-apply for bartender. Tapos, siyempre, let them mix drinks, no? Tingnan natin kung marunong sila mag-mix ng mga alcoholic drinks. Kasi that is the work of a bartender. Okay, mixing drinks. So, if they can do that, they can do the standard drinks like Campari Soda or Singapore Sling or whatever, then you can, or gin tonic, no? Yan, very popular. Then, pwede silang ma-hire because they're competent in mixing drinks. So, competence is measured in a trade test. Then meron naman tayong tinatawag na psychological test. Or sometimes it's also called IQ test. Okay? So intelligence test. So gusto natin makita yung aptitude, yung katalinuhan, yung level of intelligence ng isang tao. Okay? Then substantive test. Yung mga substantive tests, we want to prove the existence of an account. Okay? So if you're looking at cash, or you're looking at accounts receivable, dun sa ating libro, sa accounting books, ginagamitan natin substantive test to prove that the balance there is correct. Okay? Then we have integrity test, or sometimes they're called a test of honesty. Gusto natin mapatunayan kung ang isang tao o grupo ng mga individuals ay honest. So we now use an integrity test. Then we have what you call experiment. Dalawa naman ang klase ng experiment, yung tinatawag natin na laboratory experiment. That means it's controlled in a controlled environment, indoors. And that's what you call a field experiment. So, ginagawa siya outside the premises of the company, in the field, no? So, you're maybe observing in another environment, or maybe in the community, or maybe in a factory. So, those are examples of field experiments. Then there's what you call other methods of data gathering, like inspection. Pag inspection, dapat meron kang checklist. Then focus group discussion, also called brainstorming. Then there's what you call documentary analysis. Pag sinabing documentary analysis, you are actually searching through the internet documents or maybe you're reading some documents. So yung mga documents na yan, electronic or printed, yan ang gagawin mong basis for your data gathering. Okay? So pag nag-review tayo ng mga statistics ng Philippine Statistics Authority or mga data sa mga government offices, those are examples of documentary analysis. And then there's what you call benchmarking. Pag sinabi nating benchmarking, this is a type of data gathering method wherein we want to look out for the best practices or common practices of companies or persons or organizations. Okay? So nililista natin, ginajot down natin yung detalye ng kanilang behavior o ng kanilang practice. So that's what you call benchmarking. Okay? So parang tinutularan natin yung the best. Okay? Now, importante sa paggawa ng research yung concept ng triangulation. Pag sinabing triangulation, just like a triangle, at least 3 methods ang gagamitin mo. Why is that important? So, the first data that you gathered can be validated by the next method, by the next set of data that you will gather from the next method, and so on and so forth. So, the 3 methods that you will use will validate each other. That's why very important ang triangulation. Okay? So, importante yan to establish credibility of our research findings. By combining theories, methods, and observers in a research study, this method can help ensure that fundamental biases arising from the use of one method or a single observer are overcome. Kasi pag survey lang ang ginamit mo, may mga biases yan. So hindi siya ma-eliminate. Kasi hindi ka gumamit ng pangalawa o pangatlong method. Kaya importante yung triangulation. Now, let's go to our video lecture recitation question. This is video lecture number 27. We will talk about research techniques. I want you to state your group number and the name of your group. Enumerate the research techniques that you will be using in your research project. Just enumerate them. As simple as that. Okay? Then you earn a grade. Make sure you place your answers in the comment section of the YouTube channel of your professor in 6 days. Okay? I'll see you around in video lecture number 28.